So let's look at thousand-year lifetimes. Bible reports that there were some men that lived 1,000 years. Methuselah and Noah and a number of others were living 1,000 years, and that's far different from the 100 or 120-year lifespan that we see on Earth here today. Now, it turns out that our bodies need to make new cells relatively often in some cases. Your stomach cells need to be reproduced every 3 days. Your uh, bone cells maybe every 25 years, but they need to make new cells. And when they do that, we need to make a copy of the DNA for the new cell. The original DNA stays in the old cell, and the copy goes to the new cell. So we have to copy it. And it's this copying process that can lead to incorrect copies at times of the DNA made. And if we make incorrect copies of our DNA for the next cell that we're making, we can end up with illness or death. And we need to find a way to prevent these bad copies from being made. And that's the result of some research that was done, which again involved the Nobel Prize. Here is a simple schematic of a chromosome, a 146th part of your DNA in each and every cell of your body. And the major important parts of it are the genes, the genetic material that determine your hair color, the shape of your nose, and all of these things. There are about 50,000 of these genes, some within all of your DNA. But each one of the chromosomes ends with tail ends here that initially were called junk DNA because they were not genes, they were not important parts, but they were just junk at the end. Well, it turns out that's a lot more than junk. And again, they've been given the name telomeres by the people who studied this and found the great importance of these tail ends here. This is where the copying starts. When this unwinds and you start copying, and you have to grab it at just the right place, and if you grab it at the wrong place, you end up with a good copy of the genes most of the time, but with these telomeres shortening with time. And that's the difficulty with making copies forever, that these telomeres get too short. Now, this is a little bit complicated here, but here we've got a part of a DNA, part of a chromosome, a part of a small quantity of DNA, and they're shown here as if they are two chains here, two different chains of beads of different colors. And when it comes time to make a new set of DNA for the new cell that's going to be made, these DNA unwinds. It's shown here unwinding, and so one string unwinds and a copy is made of it. And so we end up, when we're all done here, with two copies of the DNA. One stays in the original cell that's going to die, and the other one goes to the new cell. Now, there are 46 of these chromosomes that are made in each cell of your body, and so when we make a new cell of that body, we have to make 46 new copies of those. And it's the start of this copying process that's leading to problems with not being made good copies in each and every time. Here is a depiction of what has been observed in terms of the telomere length in various aged normal people. When you're born, you have about 10,000 unit long telomeres, and they decline with time as you make more and more copies. And here's what more or less a healthy person might be. Now you can get your value of your telomere length measured from your blood test and see where you fit, above or below this line, or if you're a lot younger in bodily, or if you're a lot older in your body. Or if you're very low down here, the point of death is at about 3,000, it is believed. So this is the general plot, and people that are not on this plot could be down here, would be very sick. It's been found that illnesses in young people their telomeres can be real short and leading to a problem along those lines. So that's the result. Well, it turns out that another of the most fantastic discovery was made by these people, again, which ended up in the 2009 Nobel Prize, was that they found a gene within the 40 or 50,000 genes in your body. They found the gene that is responsible for making an enzyme called, that they gave the name telomerase. And this telomerase, if it were present in your cells and were being made, its job is to promote the length of these and not to allow them to get too short. They found that this gene is turned off. So this gene exists in the human body. It could make this telomerase, which could make our telomeres a lot longer, or at least not shorten. And unfortunately, it's turned off. So this is the biblical reason, biblical understanding of how thousand years could have happened with the lifetimes in the early parts of the Bible, that gene could have been turned on by who? By God. And the net result would be that you could live a lot longer lives. So that's an explanation for 1,000-year lifetimes and the scientific backing to show how it is possible.